Hi, it's Kirk Lynch again. Here we are on the second of a series of 3 videos doing the first 15 transactions of this practice set for you. We have done forms 1 through 5 on the first video. It was a little long, I apologize for that, but there was logistical stuff I wanted to make sure you understand. This one will be much shorter. So we are on form number 6, and if we look at form number 6, it's another check we have received. It's from a company called Boulder Builders, and the total amount is $11,123, and they say down here it's for an invoice that we had sent to them dated May 28th, and they're taking the 2% discount. Now, if you'd like to check yourself, if we look at our accounts receivable subsidiary ledger, for you it'd be in your booklet behind the tab that says ledgers and accounts receivable is pages 24 through 26. But if we looked at that and we found Boulder Builders right here, we can see they owe us $11,123, and that's what they're about to pay us. So anytime we receive money, it goes in our cash receipts journal. We're now here on our second row, and if we look at this check, it's stamped right here, received June 4th, and so our date is June 4th. This is one of our regular customers, so their name goes here. We're going to use the accounts receivable credit column right here, and we're going to enter the amount of the check, $11,123, and the amount of cash we received, $11,123. And then we are going to go back to that subsidiary ledger where we just were for accounts receivable, and we're going to put in this date, June 4th, and our posting reference here is cash receipts journal page 1, and it is a credit because the debit balance that we have for our accounts receivable, when we credit that, $11,123, will give us a zero balance. Now when we show a zero balance, I'm going to go ahead and take the time to do this. Let's see, we want to insert a shape and a line. So when you indicate a zero balance, you draw a line in the balance column, something like that. Let's format this to be a little better. I'll do that later. Format, black, style, a little thicker. So something like that shows a zero balance in our accounts. And we'll do that through all of our accounts when we show a zero balance, is just draw a line. It's going to be easy for you because you're going to do it with pencil, but I have to do it with Excel. Back to this now. In our cash receipts journal, we are going to put a check mark. Again, I use X's because check marks are hard in Excel to indicate we updated our accounts receivable subsidiary ledger. And then the final thing we have to do is go to our transaction tracker, and on form number 6 we went to our cash receipts journal, and we went to our accounts receivable subsidiary ledger, and that's everything we did for that particular form. And so we're done with our transaction tracker, and back in our forms we're done with form number 6. So now we move on to form number 7. It's another memo, and this time it says to issue a check for $15,500 to a company called Buffalo Hardware in payment of their May 27th invoice number 374375. And if we went to our accounts payable subsidiary ledger and found Buffalo Hardware, right here it shows that we owe them $15,500. Anytime we're going to pay somebody, it goes in our cash payments journal. So if we look at our transaction page, we need a few things. The date is June 5th. And we're going to eventually need that invoice number there. Their terms net 20 mean they don't offer a discount, but that's just additional information. So June 5th is what I'm looking for. So on June 5th, this is going to be check number 2003, and the company is Buffalo Hardware. one of our regular suppliers. We're paying them. Skip the posting reference. We're going to be here in the accounts payable column, and we're going to put $15,500 in there. And in our cash credit column, $15,500 there. Then we're going to go to our accounts payable subsidiary ledger. In your booklet, pages 27 and 28, find Buffalo Hardware, and we're going to put June 5th here. And this came from our cash payments journal, page 1. And this is going to be a debit for $15,500. Oops, went too far. This should be 15500, and our balance will be 0. And so I'm going to go over here and steal this line we created before, copy it, and we're going to put our balance of here and paste it. So we'll just move it to the right place, and so now we have a 0 balance in our Buffalo Hardware account. And so back in our cash payments journal, we're going to put a check mark in the posting reference column, and now we have to actually go write a check. And so here we are in our checkbook for you. In your booklet, checkbooks between pages 29 and 33. You're probably still on page 29. This is going to be $15,500 for this check. Here's our balance forward. The date is June 5th. Come on, type. June 5th, 2000XX. And it's to Buffalo Hardware. And it was for invoice number. And back here, it was invoice number 374375. There were no deposits, so we still have a balance of $37,360. And this check is for $15,500. When we subtract $15,500 from $37,360, we get a balance of $21,860 in our checkbook. I'm going to carry that number down here, $21,860. And we're done with this check. You would go ahead and have to fill out the check and sign it. I require you to do that for all the checks, but to save time, I'm not going to do that part. And then finally, in our transaction tracker, we did a cash payments journal for this. It went to a accounts payable subsidiary ledger, and we wrote check number 2003. And so we're done with that, and let's do this. And then back in here, I just want to make sure I got everything in my cash payments journal, and I do. And so now that transaction form number 7 is done. And let's look at form number 8. It's another sale, goes in our sales journal. We're selling to this time a company called B&H Building. Our terms are still 210 net 30. This is invoice number 752 on June 5th. And we're going to need these two numbers. I'll come back and look at it when we get to the numbers part. So in our sales journal, for you in your booklet, sales journals on page 5, behind the tab that says journals, and we are here June 5th. The next invoice is 752, says so on it, and this is to B and H Building. Come back to that in a second. Let's look for the numbers here. So in our down at the bottom, we need 15,925 in the sales part, and then over in the cost of merchandise sold area, it's right here, 10,200. Now we're going to go to our accounts receivable subsidiary ledger, and B&H Building owes us an additional $15,925. So in your booklet, accounts receivables on pages 24 through 26, and And so accounts receivable, B&H building is right here. We see that right now they owe us nothing. So on June 5th, this came from our sales journal, SJ, on page 1, and it's a debit for well, I gotta go look again, $15,925. That makes the balance $15,925. Then back in our sales journal in the posting reference column, a check mark to indicate we updated our subsidiary ledger. And then in our transaction tracker spreadsheet, we went to our sales journal for the first thing, and we updated our accounts receivable subsidiary ledger. If I didn't say it before, these areas here, Action 1 and Action 2, have a drop-down list that you just have to choose from. When you click in there, click the little arrow to the right, and the list will come up, and you pick the correct one. All right, so we're done with that, and it went back in our sales journal. We're done, and so on our transaction page, we have recorded this sale. Again, it went in our sales journal, and we updated our accounts receivable subsidiary ledger. And now we move on to Form 9. And Form 9 is another check to us. It's from a company called B Squared Builders. It's for $9,555, and it's for an invoice from May, and they took advantage of the discount. If we look in our accounts receivable subsidiary ledger for B Squared Builders right here, we see they owe us $9,555. All received money goes in the cash receipts journal. Now this check was stamped received June 5th. So in our cash receipts journal, that's June 5th. This came from B Squared Builders. The amount was $9,555. That goes in the accounts receivable area, $9,555, and the amount of the check, $9,555. And then we go to our subsidiary ledger for accounts receivable, and we enter the date, June 5th, and this came from our cash receipts journal on page 1. This will be a credit for $9,555, and that will make our balance 0. We've already got a line here, and so there's our 0 balance. Then finally, for this transaction in our cash receipts journal in the posting reference column, we put a check mark to indicate that this has been updated in a subsidiary ledger. And in our transaction tracking general spreadsheet, this went from our cash receipts journal, and we updated our accounts receivable subsidiary ledger, and that's all we had to do. Finally, back here, we've got everything in our cash receipts journal, and on the transaction page, this check has been recorded as received in our cash receipts journal. And then finally, for this video, our form number 10, it asks us to issue a check for $12,800 to Quick and Easy Hardware and payment of their invoice 74752. Terms net 15 says they do not offer a discount. And so this is June 5th. So the first thing I would do is go to my accounts payable subsidiary ledger. For you, it's in your booklet on pages 27 and 28, and look for Quick and Easy Hardware. So accounts payable, Quick and Easy Hardware right here, it shows we owe them $12,800, and that's what we are asked to pay. So cash payments go in the cash payments journal. This date is June 5th still, so in the cash payments journal, June 5th. The next check is 2004, and we are paying Quick and Easy Hardware. We are paying them $12,800. So in our accounts payable, since they're one of our regular suppliers, And in our cash credit, whoops, $12,800. In that accounts payable subsidiary ledger, here's Quick and Easy Hardware. This was June 5th. This came from our cash payments journal on page 1. This will be a debit of 12800. If you're having trouble deciding whether it should be a debit or a credit, just look at your journals. They tell you. In our cash payments journal, it tells you right here, accounts payable, DR means debit, CR means credit. So I knew it was a debit because of that. This makes our balance 0, and so we draw a line there to show a 0 balance. And then back in our cash payments journal, this is a check mark to indicate we updated a subsidiary ledger. And then finally we have to write a check. Okay, so we are now down to check now 2004. This will be for $12,800. This is June 5th. And it's to Quick and Easy Hardware. And it's for an invoice number. And back on the transaction page, it's 74752. Finally, there were no deposits. So we're down here, we have a balance of $21,860. This check is going to be for $12,800. And that will make the balance of our checkbook $9,060. Make sure you write the check and sign your name. I'm going to go on to the next page of your booklet, which is we're going to carry down the balance forward of $9,060 in our balance area for our checkbook. And that's the final thing we have to do here in our transaction tracker spreadsheet for Form 10. We went to our cash payments journal. We went to our accounts payable subsidiary ledger, and we wrote check number 2004. So that'll be the end of this video. When we come back for the last video that I'm going to do for you, we're going to be here on transaction number 11. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you